Good evening, Purchase Line School District Class of 2020, Mr. Ford, Superintendent. I would also like to welcome parents, guardians, family, friends, and distinguished guests. I would also like to welcome our educators and staff members and our school board members. I would also like to take this opportunity to acknowledge some people who helped make this night possible. Our administrative team, Mark Codwell and CJAWS. I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Thomas for his leadership during this COVID-19 crisis. It has not been an easy few months as we have dealt with this pandemic in an attempt to keep the ship afloat, and I'm appreciative of all the hard work of the administrative team during this time of transition. In the history of Purchase Line School District, never have we had a graduating class that has gone through what this class has gone through. As we rewrite the history of Purchase Line School District graduations this evening, I wanted to begin by saying this. As much as we try, and try we do, there will always be unexpected events. There will always be times when crises happen, and oftentimes our dreams, our aspirations, our hopes are met with these unexpected times, and the world has its own timeline. This pandemic has caused a lot of loss for a lot of people, with 32 million people in our country unemployed, many in our own community. And another great loss was the graduating classes of 2020 at the colleges and the high schools, including our Purchase Line class of 2020. So at this time, I want to acknowledge that loss. For 13 years, these students have worked hard to get to this point. And I'm sure, parents, you'll remember kindergarten, that first day of school when you dropped your son or daughter off, and then the 6th grade promotion. And now in the home stretch of their senior year, a pandemic hits. COVID-19, a word that we've come to hate, created the loss of moments. Consider this: no senior trip, no senior concert, no senior spring sports, no senior prom yet. And the list could go on. Class of 2020, we are sorry for the things that were taken from you. However, what wasn't taken from you is your graduation ceremony. I remember sitting in an administration meeting with the team when we realized that school was going to be done for the year. And I said, I want to make this night the most unique night that has ever happened in a graduation ceremony in Purchase Line history, because no other class has lost so much. The unexpected does and will happen throughout your lives. The key is, what is your choice? How do you respond to this? Because life lessons that you gain during this COVID-19, you will take with you for the rest of your life. So the question I will ask of you this evening, graduates, is this: how do you respond? And I have a few words that I would like you to consider in your response to this crisis. There's a book called Dare to Lead by Brene Brown. And in the book, Brene Brown says you have to embrace the suck. And what that means is you embrace those hard times. You embrace those times when life throws you unexpected events. And so we start here with the acknowledgement, but now we move on. So how do we adapt? How do we adapt to this changing time? And that's the first word: adapt. Anytime a crisis happens, we have to have an ability to adapt to the situation. We have to have an ability to pivot and maybe go in a different direction. And we have to be willing to embrace that change. If you're an adaptable person, you can get through anything in life. So the first word I want to talk to you about is adapt. And I want to share a story with you. I remember sitting in my house on January 1st. We had just gotten back from a New Year's Eve party. I was sitting upstairs in a loft watching a football game while the rest of the family went to bed. All of a sudden I start hearing these sounds going off in our house. And I'm like, what is that? And I quickly realized that they were smoke alarms going off. And I was sitting there, and I said, I better go check this out. Well, I came down off the steps, and the whole house was filling up with smoke. I quickly got my family out of the house, called 911, and I remember sitting out there on the fire truck with a friend of mine as my house was going up in smoke. And he said, at least your family made it out alive. And I said, absolutely. And he says, you can rebuild. And that lesson that I learned then, I had to adapt. I had to adapt to a whole new living. We lived out of a hotel for a year. And I remember the pain that caused, but I also quickly went from pain, I went into saying, okay, this is the situation, we have to deal with it. We're sitting here tonight in a makeshift drive-in theater at Purchase Line High School parking lot. We're watching this on a big screen. None of us could have imagined this 6 months ago, that we would be sitting here doing this, but here we are. We've adapted. We've tried to make this a great night. We started off with a parade. The seniors have come in, they've decorated their cars. There's still excitement in the air. So we've adapted to the situation. COVID-19, our government has put out so many different how we live during this time and what we do. Do we wear a mask? Do we not wear a mask? And then they tell us we have to follow CDC guidelines and we have to follow the PA Department of Health guidelines. Well, sometimes those guidelines are clear as mud. But yet, we adapt and we move on. And that's the message to you, graduates. You will have to adapt in your life. Whether you start a new career, whether you go to the military, whether you go to college next year, life is changing. Add in a COVID-19, and the life is changing even more. So to be adaptable is really to be employable. To be adaptable is to be able to change with any circumstance that happens to you in life. The second word I want to talk about is a word that I will always give to every class as long as I'm superintendent. That word is grit. Another word for that is internal fortitude, toughness, learning to persevere through challenges and setbacks. You know, once our house burnt down, you know, we had to get tough. We lost everything. We lost all of our pictures. We lost all of our memories. Not a whole lot different to what this graduating class has lost. But you know, quickly we realized we're going to rebuild. And you have to have a can-do attitude, not a can't attitude. You're going to get knocked down in life. The key is getting back up and keep moving forward. And you got to have a little this inside you. You got to have a little toughness inside you. You got to have a little grit inside you. And so remember that word, grit. The last word I'm going to give you is this, and I have it up here. This was something on my very first speech in Purchase Line School District with the faculty and the administration. I talked about this word, believe. Believe is so important because what you believe, you will create. Let me say that again. What you believe, you will create. The world will change. We will have unexpected events. Life will not always be fair. But if you have a belief in something, if you have a hope, a dream, an aspiration, a goal, you can still achieve that by your belief system, by keeping that out there, keeping that so packed in to your being that you're going to attain that irregardless of what circumstance happens. I had a belief when I came to Purchase Line School District. I had a framework for what I knew we could accomplish as a district. And I've never lost that belief. And COVID-19 won't defeat us. It will not defeat Purchase Line. It will not defeat you graduates of 2020. What you believe in, you create. Create a great future. Dr. Carol Dweck of Stanford University talks about a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And a growth mindset is all about learning from situations and getting stronger and getting better. COVID-19, in your response to it, is to have a growth mindset. What can I learn from this that will help me in the future? I want to conclude like this. This moment in time may change the trajectory of your life. See, here's what I believe. I believe that the purchase line class of 2020 will be some of the best leaders that we've ever seen come from this school system, because nobody else has gone through it. And if they'll embrace that pain, they'll embrace that loss, and they'll learn from it, then by all means, they will become a great leader. But it's your choice. It's your choice. And so I'm going to show a short video that I want you to watch, and then I'm going to ask you the question after the video.
And my time was running wild, a million dead-end streets, and every time I thought I got it made, it seemed the taste was not so sweet. So I turned myself to face me, but I've never caught a glimpse how the others must see the faker. I'm much too fast to take that test. Changes. Turn and face the strain. Changes. Don't wanna be a richer man. Changes. Turn and face the strain. Changes. It's gonna have to be a different man. Time may change me, but I can't trace time. Sides, but never leave the stream of warm permanent sand. So the days float through my eyes, but still the days seem the same. And these children that you spit on as they try to change their worlds are immune to your consultations. They're quite aware of what they're going through. Changes. Turn and face the strain. Changes. Don't tell them to grow up out of it. Changes. Turn and face the strain. Changes. Where's the shame you've left us up to our next event? Time may change me. You can't trace time. Strange fascination fascinating me. Our changes are taking the pace I'm going through. Changes. Turn and face the strain. Changes. Oh, look out, you rock and rollers. Changes. Turn and face the strain. Changes. Pretty soon now you're gonna get older. Time may change me, but I can't trace time. I said that time may change me, but I can't trace time.
So here's my question. Are you a goldfish or are you a shark? How do you respond to the COVID-19 pandemic? That's the question that I want you to answer. And I encourage you to use those three words: adapt, grit, and believe. Congratulations, class of 2020. Good luck in your future endeavors, and may God bless you.